What is something that is in your body that touches everything, holds everything together, and yet most people don't even think about it? And it is responsible for the aches and the pains that we have in their body. And no, it's not your muscles. It is your fascia. And so today here at Spotlight TV, we're going to talk about fascia because we are doing these daily videos. Well, until we don't, because we want to change the way that we view health, the way that we're doing health. We can't do health the way we have in the past because people are getting sicker and we're not getting well, and we're fighting for vitality when really the body, it knows how to do it. And so we are on this spa life journey together. So today we're going to talk about fascia. Last week when we talked about fascia, we said fascia is connective web, collagen network, living membrane, and a fluid highway. But today let's focus on the the connective web. So let's focus on the connective web. How fascia actually runs. It is one sheet. Fascia in your body is one sheet. So if you want to think about what fascia is, imagine you're going to make a chicken and you have a chicken leg. You know that outer film on the outside of the chicken, and inside is the muscle, but there's this film on the outside, and it's very thin, not the skin. Underneath the skin is fascia. And that fascia runs and covers every muscle fiber, every nerve, every tissue, and it literally runs on every part of your body. So there is something called fascial trains or anatomy trains, and I have a book here by Thomas Myers, and he talks about anatomy trains and how the fascia runs in the body. So I'm going to tell you about the 4 main trains. And this will be important because as we start doing fascia maneuvers, fascia exercises, talking about things that make your fascia healthy, it's important that you know how they run and what it is. So our first fascia line is your fascia superficial front line, and it starts at the feet and runs up the body and then traps to the back. And then we have our superficial back line, which runs the bottom of the feet, runs up the leg, up the spinal cord, and then wraps around to the front of the head. So it wraps around the head. And then we have the lateral lines, which come starts at the feet, runs on the side, and then literally runs wraps around the spine and kind of crisscrosses in the back. Then we have the spiral lines. Starts at the feet, comes up the leg, and then check this out. It crosses and wraps around to the back, and then also wraps around the ribs. And then the other spiral line starts at the feet, runs up the leg, and then crosses and goes to the back. So there's this crisscross effect that is actually happening with the spiral lines. That is how they run. Now remember, they are one sheet. And do you remember anything common that I said when I was describing these lines of fascia? I said they start at the feet. And that's super important because imagine if they're all at the feet, they converge at the feet. If you release the fascia in the feet, then it can literally affect the fascia in your neck, the fascia in your hip, the fascia in your arm. It can literally release and affect the fascia in these distant areas because they converge and begin at the feet. Where's another place that I showed that you can kind of describe or notice where they converge? They converge in the core. You have these spiral lines that cross, and then you have all the lines that come up here, and they all come together in the core. So if you have this fascia, now even though I'm describing lines, remember, it isn't like a cable. No, it's just a pathway, like a highway with many outlets, and these outlets wrap fibers and tissues. Okay, so imagine you have these tissues in here, all this fascia in your stomach area and your core. What happens if you're eating food and somebody shouts and you get startled? All the fascia responds to that startle and it tightens up. Fascia responds really quick. It responds to danger, safety, joy. Everything you feel and think affects your fascia. Your environment affects your fascia. And so if you're eating food and you get startled or people are yelling or there's a lot of stress, your fascia will tighten up. In a way, it's tightening up to prepare for danger, to prepare for a fight. So your fascia is responding to whatever's going on in preparation to protect you. Your fascia holds you in place. It is also protecting you. So let's get into what you can do to make your fascia have a nice flow. We talked about the beginning, we're at the feet. So we're gonna start there. So in fascia flow, I usually start at the feet. That is your foundation. And I like to use a ball, a tennis ball, a lacrosse ball, just a massage ball. I have a variety of different massage balls, but you can just pick up a tennis ball. And so imagine that this is the floor and this is your foot. You wanna get the ball and just warm up your feet like this, just to kind of tell your feet, okay, I'm going to address some of the discomfort in my feet. Just kind of get your tissue ready. And then as you move it around, you're gonna start noticing tender spots. So you wanna find the tender spot. Oh, there it is. You find the tender spot. Remember, this is the floor. This is your foot. Find the tender spot and then apply pressure. About 80% pressure. Not 100% because you don't wanna injure any tissues, just 80% pressure. When you do that, the fascia is not going to release right away because you're pushing on it. It's going to tense. And just hold and just wait. And you want to hold for about 2 minutes so that the fascia can feel safe again to release. And it'll get hydrated and it'll just start to melt under the pressure that you're putting on the bottom of your foot. So you start releasing that fascia. So you can have these all over the house, in the kitchen, your bedroom, anywhere that you can do this throughout the day, under your desk. And so you just constantly work your feet. It's so important that you remember the reason we're doing the bottom of the feet is because all fascia converges and begins at the feet. Make sense? Amazing, right? I love that. And okay, so what else can you do for your fascia? So oftentimes I talk about movement, and that could be as simple as rocking. Well, why? This rocking and bouncing and flow actually starts to stimulate the fascia throughout your entire body. So you can bounce, you can rock, you can swing your arms while you're taking breaths. Fascia loves breath. If you ever watch a cat wake up from a nap, what do? They stretch and they yawn. And it's not just for relaxation, it is for waking up the fascia and hydrating the fascia. Because when your fascia is strong and healthy and hydrated, it has a bounce effect. It has a rebound effect, and that's what you want to do. Think about an athlete who can be on a basketball court and they'll be running and they'll get knocked over and they just kind of roll or bounce and they bounce right up. Why is that possible? Because their fascia is used to and it's trained to have this rebound effect, this bounce, this buoyancy. So bouncing is great. Moving, you're twisting. Now we're twisting the fascia. And the reason you want breath is because you're bringing that oxygen into that fascia. So think about flow, rotation, something as simple as this. You can do this anytime. You can do this while you're watching TV, just swing your arms and working your feet. And when you're done working your feet, you can use the same ball while you're sitting on the floor and just put it under your shins and your calves. If you spend the next week, 2 weeks, just working your feet and from the knees down, you will start feeling relief in other parts of your bodies. So you see, we're talking about releasing on the bottom of the feet and just movement. That's what makes this spa life method so different. Yes, working out is fabulous. Having muscle is amazing. So important. The fascia even loves it. But first and foremost, we need to wake up the fascia and prepare for life. Prepare for the stresses and the uneven walking. Let's say, you always hear about people who injure themselves just walking off a sidewalk or just reaching to the back or just reaching to grab something and their back goes out. It's because their fascia is not prepared for real life. We are preparing ourselves, our fascia, our gut, our body for real life. And to do that, it is a daily practice of waking up the fascia, moving the fascia, being active. Being active isn't about losing weight. Being active is about keeping your fascia limber and healthy so that your fascia can handle the real things that you do in your day-to-day. So I hope you enjoyed this video about fascia, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.